What's going on, guys? I'm just going to discuss the Kittytail Open with you really quickly for anybody who wants to include Kittytail in their peer list. So here you're going to see I open up with a starter as well as an extra beast body, right? So right off the bat, let's talk about it. So I ended up playing Obedience School, and then look what I pulled. I pulled Wally, Caress, and Kittytail, right? So the reason I pull these three cards is because I know, A, I have another body in my hand, another beast body to put down for 4, so I can make Joyous and Forest both. Um, then I have to decide, what do I want Joyous to be made with, right? So I don't know anything about what I'm playing against. Calantosa is usually a pretty solid option, but currently there's a lot of lists that are that like popping a card um, is not doing what it used to, so to speak. And keep in mind, you still get one pop from the Wally line, which we will go into. So we pull Kittytail for the Kittytail effect. We're gonna get to Kittytail effect, which is a removal. Keep in mind, and and Wally we pulled as well. But we have Wally in our hand, right? So why would we pull this one? Well, first, Wally is the only Melffy with 3 bodies. So always a good option just to thin that list out. You don't want to dig too deep into your puppies or kitties, especially if you don't have hide and seek already available to you. And because we are still going to go with our staring contest full open here, we definitely want that. We definitely want staring contests, right? So we can't fish hide and seek. Karas is just a big body. He's a one of, but if he ever makes it, and if he ever survives, like he's a hell of an extender. So if he makes it to the next round, or if you can somehow fish him back out or whatever, he is usually a really solid finisher. So I fish him out if nothing else for the biggest body I probably have, and yeah. So now keep in mind here, I immediately put Wally and my extra body, in this case it was Valerifon, into Forest, right? And that's because whatever goes into Forest is not going to be used on the next turn, typically, right? Now, and this is a little bit unique, and we'll get into that, but that's my play, right? These are the two I want in Joyous, and if this was Calantosa Wally, that would make a lot more sense, right? But keep in mind, Joyous fishes out of the graveyard regardless of if it comes from Joyous itself. So in this case, it doesn't really matter as much, which is what we're going to do. So we package them up, and we just make sure that we dump Wally, right? Because when we do break down Joyous to fish, we need that Wally back out, right? Now, why did I do it this way? A couple reasons. I already have a Wally in hand, right? So if I get interrupted at some point, I'm good. I still got my Wally. My idea is to Joyous, fish staring contest, dump Wally, and then use staring contest to swap Wally out with Rabbit. And then on the next turn, on the opponent's turn, I take Joyous, I break it down, I fish Kittytail and Wally out of the graveyard. Because this Forest will dump the Wally into the graveyard, right? And that's excellent. So I have those in there. That's the goal. Keep in mind, in order to work Kittytail, you have to send one monster from your deck that's the same type as a monster that's already in your graveyard. So we need to make sure that we still have a body in there before we even proc Kittytail, and that's where Caress will come in. So, again, just as a kind of a catch up here, we had a Obedience School open and another body. We fished Caress, Kittytail, Wally from the Obedience School. We put down the Valerifon. We turned Wally and Valerifon into Melffy of the Forest. Now, we're going to fish Staring Contest. We're going to use Staring Contest, and we're going to reset Wally, grab Rabby, right? So now Staring Contest is locked and loaded. That kit is already good to go. We're going to package up Joyous and Caress into, Kittytail and Caress into Joyous. And then immediately in the draw phase, And this is why it's important to know whether or not you're going to Kalantosa early. Because this line lets me pop my Joyous in the draw phase. Very little the opponent can do if they didn't already um, have Interrupt in their hand. So before they can, add more cards, start the line, whatever, we want to get on the board with the bodies that have effects. So right off the bat, in the draw phase, I always toggle to on before I pass my turn. In the draw phase, we pop Joyous, so we immediately have Wally and Kittytail on the board. And that way, as soon as the opponent makes plays, Wally is eligible to activate. We don't have to release Joyous and then wait for Wally to get triggered. And right off the bat, as soon as Kittytail gets summoned, it's going to run its effect, right? Now, its effect, remember, because we swapped Caress and Wally here, we have a body in here. We're going to target Caress, and we're going to throw the same type in there, which is always going to be the same type, because we're Melffys. We're going to drop Cerberus in here. Now, Cerberus is one of my favorite cards in the game because nobody ever pays attention to it. It is so sleeper. It's just a straight up destruction of a card on the board. Very easy to trigger even on your own turn. Really solid card, right? And on top of that, that's not all Kittytail does. If Kittytail gets popped, it's then a free search for whatever you want. So yeah, that's extremely powerful line right there. In exchange for just lack of Kalantosa, which in this case wasn't really useful to me anyways, because I don't know anything about the opponent I'm playing. Now, if it was a tournament or something, maybe it'd be different. But it's just single best of one quick match ranked or whatever. And yeah, so I'm gonna go with the thing that kind of gives me more options in this case, especially knowing again that because I have Wally secured, I still get a pop anyways. I still get my full satellite line, which equates to 3 pops total. So Kittytail a lot easier to factor in right here instead of the Kalantosa. It allows me to pop in the draw phase, protecting me in that respect. Gives me that removal still, so I technically still do get a pop, and then it's a fish for an extender later. So that's kind of how that card has value. A lot of people, they say they have a hard time kind of figuring out how to make it work. And that's really going to be the whole combo here. Now, unfortunately, this guy is playing some like super strange cheese, and you don't really get to see the full effect. With just standard Melffy combos here. I end up going into Herald, just in case he's got something really strange. And then I go into a Cell Satellite on my own turn. That way I have Herald to protect myself, and because I don't know what the hell he's got going on over here. And then I can Satellite on my own turn. I got a board full of bodies. You always love to fish hide and seek, because then you start cycling your graveyard. Obviously, you leave Cerberus in there, but your one-ofs, Penny, Valeraphon, Caress, you want to fish back. If you need Wally real bad for some reason, I guess you could fish him, but again, Wally is your only 3 body, so he is the most disposable. And then obviously you draw 1 card, which is huge. And one thing that people forget is hide and seek protects you from destruction. Anytime your beasts would be destroyed, they are not. And that's for every beast, not just 1 card. So obviously I go into a Cell Synchro, I go into the satellite line here, and I end the game. So that's that. I just wanted to go over the Kittytail value line, why it's good. Man, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to hit me up. I'd love to chat them up with you. Have a great day, guys.